Okay, so here's what I learned about doing master lease options for apartments. It comes down to two things, two elements: time and money. And the question is, you need as much time as you can get on the lease so
Hmm.
that you have plenty of time to turn that property around and get it refinanced. If you come in and say, well, I'll do it in 12 months,
No,
no way. Exactly.
no. That's
Okay.
how you
So,
lose everything. When people say, I lost everything in 2008, they did things like that.
exactly. Well, how'd you know my story? How do you know? Well, come on.
I know a lot of lease optioning people, and I know that happened a lot. So that they
That
just
happens
got to the
now. Oh,
point.
yeah. I
Yeah.
was so new, and I did a 12-month lease option. And but let's talk the other side of the equation is money.
Hmm.
Now, the question about the lease option, and this is, do you tell the owner that you're going to come with a chunk of money to start rehabbing his units? That puts you in a very precarious situation. You're putting your
Hmm.
own money into his property that you don't own.
Yep.
Or do you say something, hey, if something breaks big on this property, Mr. Seller, you're still going to pay for it, or you put that type of provision in? Or how do you work the money side of the master lease? So how do you work the time, and how do you work the money on this deal?
We had generous extensions. So I do like to give them a short time period, 12 months, but then we had two 12-month extensions. So we essentially negotiated 36 months. Now, there were things that we needed to do in order to earn those extensions, the same as with any loan, where we had to show that we were basically performing according to, and that we were looking for a loan and that we were being turned down or something like that. We had to show proof that good faith that we were trying to do it. And then as far as putting money in and fixing up these properties, there's no way we were going to hold on to these for a year, 2 or 3 years, running them as they were. Basically, when they're not doing background checks and the living conditions are inhumane, I'm not owning that. That's
Yeah.
I refuse. And so we needed to have some provisions in there that the money that we put in would be protected. And so that we just contractualized that, where if we had to hand it back to them, the evaluation would basically come back to us for the improvements that we had done.
Oh, how would you get your money back out of it? If
We
back
did
to
put
the owner.
we did put down a pretty hefty down payment, like a normal size down payment. And then we said if he had to hand them back to us, then we would get the renovation money back it was basically being held in escrow at title, and that would be released back to us because we improved his property. And not everybody's going to agree to that. I think the key to doing this, again, is generalizing that knowledge, is figuring out what their problem is,
Yes.
and then offering options that will help solve them and letting them pick which one works for them. And then when you're negotiating through the nitty-gritty details, you always have to remember that you have a gross picture agreed upon. And if you let it fall apart during the detail negotiation, then obviously that would be a bad situation for both people. So you have to remember that once you get that gross thing negotiated and you think it's going to work, I do go to bat hard on the details, because I don't want this deal that we have almost in our pockets to fall apart over details. And so we do really make sure that we protect ourselves with those details.
You're still stinging from the 16 unit
Yeah.
that you did. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that wasn't the only one we tried to do that we weren't able to do. There was one down the street from there. It was a 24-acre development. And I learned a lot on that, but I ultimately was not able to do that one either. But it's funny, now I'm working on that 24-acre project again.
Good for you.
Yeah. Come back around, learn, and then you can come back and get more done, because you learn so much from every attempt, whether it's successful or not.
Yeah.